the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome to the daily show of the Bleed Blue Network. I'm excited to be here with some other faces today. Not by myself. I'm joined by Joe Adams and also by Jaden Brasham, and I am excited for Friday, guys. It's the end of a long week. It's officially the last weekday without college basketball until April, or actually real college basketball, right? Like official games. So, how are we feeling? And also, just real quick, this is brought to you by State Line Co. Make sure you use code BLEEDBLUE at stateline.co.shop for all of your State Line Co. needs here, because I'm just going to do this. Just here we go. Look at this. He's got the black
one. I had I put it on, but I don't.
I need the black one. I got a blue one, Jade, but I don't think it'll fit your big ass head.
It's an above average head.
Joe, how excited are you that basketball season is kind of officially upon us, and this is the last couple of days without any sort of regular season college basketball?
Man, I'm so pumped. I like football and all, but I was born and raised a basketball guy. I'm a basketball coach, so I'm a huge basketball fan. So not only for the Kentucky games, I'm excited to see the basketball perspective, just to see, our Final Four picks, see how they look early on. And I'm sure some teams will surprise us, but I just like March Madness. I like everything about college basketball, so I'm pumped. Every night there'll be a game on, so you always have something on TV you can watch, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's about to be, and there's football on until January too, right? Every day.
Yeah, but football's over, dude. I'm turning my focus to basketball. Unless we win tomorrow, then they'll pull me back in.
I think just overall in general, college football is still here, right? It's still going to be fun to watch. This is the first year with a 12-team playoff, so there's a lot of excitement from that perspective. Obviously, Kentucky season is not going the way we want, but I love college football in general, so I'm still excited to see how everything plays out.
Yeah, for sure. And you also have NFL going on, so that's exciting as well. So it's nice to start, and like you said, every single day there's something sports-wise that we can watch. And my wife's going to hate me for the next until May, basically. She'll hate me because that's what I'll be doing every night, is watching some type of sports event.
Well, we just had the equinox, right? All four major sports leagues played at the same night, the one night a year.
That's a great point.
One night a year.
We won't get any more of those with baseball over, but
no, yeah, baseball. Well, yeah, that thanks to the Yankees' epic choke job, or else we might have had another night or two of that.
Yeah, we should add Lexington native Walker Buehler was on the Dodgers, closed out the last game up 1 in the last inning. He's a starter, but they brought him out of the pen. Throw into a Louisville guy, Will Smith. So couple Kentucky kids in there in the World Series at the end.
It's the closest Louisville's going to get to a World Series in the next couple of years, I'd assume.
I hope so.
Got to throw shade at Louisville all the time, right?
Yeah. That's what I like about you. I can't do it as much because my wife, she'll make me sleep on the couch.
That's why I'd have a whole nother bedroom decked out in Kentucky gear, and I'd be like, that's fine. I'm going to go hang out in this bedroom anyway. I ain't got to worry about no one trying to snuggle me. I ain't got to worry about being a spoon. I get some snuggle pillows just spread out. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Especially after you've been with someone for a long time, man. It's not saying go sleep in another room ain't it's, you almost try and do it just to get some actual good sleep, I go on work trips and it's amazing. Get out there and it's no kids.
You're getting away from the kids. That's got to help with the sleep.
No kid. Yeah. No. Well, honestly, the kids sleep pretty good. That's not their problem. It's the fact that they wake up and go 0 to 100 million in about 5 seconds. But so it's a weird, it's a lot of things this Friday, right? It's the last Friday of daylight savings time. It's the last Friday without college basketball. It's the last Friday until we know who a new president's going to be. There's a whole bunch of shit going on in the U.S. It's going to be probably batshit crazy for the next couple of weeks. But at least no matter what happens, we've got sports distractions, which is the greatest thing ever from that perspective. I'm a big hockey fan. The Panthers are playing in the international series today. They're in Finland. They have 4 Finnish players on the team as well. So that's pretty exciting from that perspective. I think the game's I thought it was at 1. I guess it's at 2. I guess it's at 2 today. So I might be able to watch most of that. Are you guys into hockey at all?
I tried to get into hockey a couple Stanley Cups ago, Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know. The video game's really fun, but I wasn't able to. It's not as easy to follow on TV if you haven't been exposed to it in person already. And I go to some of those Kentucky games, but it's not the same as actually following a team and a professional team.
Jaden, we might have to just get you to be an honorary Panthers fan, and we can just help you. Just be a fan. Help you.
Sure. I have no reason to not root for the Panthers. So
at least they're good, right? That's the other thing. At least you could bandwagon with a team that won the cup last year.
That works for me. I'll accept the invite. I'm a Panthers fan now.
There you go. It's the only it's weird because it's like everyone's like, oh, I hate red, but like I have so much red gear from being a Panthers fan.
Oh, now, red?
Well, they are, they're red, but also like they do have stuff that's more navy. Right, there's a lot of navy in the logo.
I can do some navy, that'll work.
And white. Their white jerseys are also kind of badass. I didn't even realize this. I've been a fan for a ton, but on the crest, their home reds, it says Panthers across it, and then their white says Florida. Didn't even pay attention to that shit.
I like when teams do the location instead of the team name sometimes, or the vice versa in college, where normally it's the location, and so sometimes when they do the Tiger script on the helmet or something like that, I don't know. I like when they change it up and do the opposite.
Yeah. So, and then I've followed Man United for a long time. So obviously there's red there. They're the Red Devils. So that kind of like throws that into it. And then I've followed Wrexham for now several years now, and there's red there. So I've got red in the closet, but it definitely is not for the University of Louisville. It's definitely for non-football or basketball-related sporting activities. So that's fine. What do we think about this weekend's slate of college football games? I'll go to Jaden first on this one.
It kind of stinks. I'm going to be honest. There's not a ton of exciting games, which means we're going to get some crazy randomness.
What are you looking at?
It's the noon game, Ohio State, Penn State. Like the 3:30 games, there's not a ton going on, like as far as ranked matchups or just kind of big notable matchups. It's a lot of like Louisville, Clemson, Pitt, SMU is exciting to nerds like maybe me, but not to the normal human. I mean, I'm excited, but I would say the average person may look at it and say that this is not a great slate of games. But
I mean, I'm pretty excited by it. I think it's got a lot of really interesting matchups. I mean, obviously Ohio State, Penn State's the big game. Duke, Miami is an interesting game. Duke 6-2. Ole Miss goes to Arkansas. You never know what you're going to get kind of from an Arkansas perspective, from that standpoint. Vanderbilt goes to Auburn. Interesting seeing if Vanderbilt's going to, keep up. Obviously Florida and Georgia is always kind of an interesting game. You never really know what's going to happen in there. Where's there's another couple that Louisville goes to Clemson. It's going to be fun watching them get boat raced.
Is A&M at South Carolina this week?
A&M in South Carolina, that's an interesting game, right? You never know what you're going to get. So there's a lot of games with maybe you don't have top 25 versus top 25, and then obviously Pitt SMU is a big game for it. That's a big playoff implication. You got two massive playoff, kind of three actually, because honestly Duke's still in that playoff conversation in the ACC. If they were to win and go on the road and beat Miami, they're probably top 25, and they're actually got to still have a chance to go to the ACC title game. So there's a lot of weird de facto, like the biggest thing I think about college football now is that you have games that maybe you have a 6-2 versus 8-0, and you know the 6-2 is not ranked. You're like, it's not a good game. But in reality, if that 6-2 wins and their schedule is kind of favorable, they've got a shot to make a playoff run now, and that's the interesting part I think about what's going on in college football.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but the conference winner, automatically gets a bid. If it's just the top 12 teams, you might not necessarily give the 6-2 team a chance. But if they're 5-1 in the division, like you said, they beat the 8-0 team. Well, now they're number one in the division, and now they have the spot in the playoff and not the 8-0 spot. So there's a lot of things that can change with a lot of that. That's why for a second, Kentucky, before we, lost that last couple of games, like I thought we still had a chance to make some noise. But unfortunately, we, dropped the egg back-to-back weeks, back-to-back weeks. Sorry.
Back-to-back. Yeah. Obviously, we do a pregame show, so we'll be watching the game and talking about it. But are you excited for the game Saturday at all? Do you have any hope? Or are you going to watch? I will be. But what about you guys?
Yeah, I always watch, but I don't feel very confident. So unfortunately, I won't get my blood pressure up. So I'm going in trying to keep my blood pressure down. And if we pull a shocker, then I'll be back on the bandwagon and hope that we can follow that with another win down the road. But if we lose, then I'll be like, all right, well, that's what I was expecting. So now I can go to sleep without my adrenaline being so high, and I can focus on the Titans losing on Sunday. So
I think my approach for this week is the same approach I had for Ole Miss week, which is we may just be screwed, and then we weren't screwed. And we've already laid out the game plan. I hope the team does the exact same thing that I'm doing, which is whatever mindset they had for Ole Miss, do that again, because it should be the same game plan, to be honest with you. It's not the same scheme, but it's a similar organization of offense, a similar style. Oh, Joe's ghost is back from the other day.
That's so scary when it does that.
It's a similar kind of philosophy, and it's going to be a kind of the same style of play that we need to beat in this type of execution in big moments that we need to beat Tennessee as we did.
I mean, do we have enough players to play? I mean, I saw that injury report. My gosh. Now,
well, some of the guys that were out have been out.
Yeah, but you think if we had one loss right now, you think that injury report would look like it?
I mean, probably, maybe. I don't know. I mean, JJ Weaver, that injury didn't look great. I mean, let's be honest from that perspective. I don't know what's going on with Souls. Chip's been out all year. I mean, so you got to think that from that. I think Mincy's injury is probably a little bit worse than what they think. Jansen Dunn was out last week, so this is the same. I mean, if you look, right, Max has been out almost all year, and that has a lot to do with, an infection in his shoulder, and that you can't. Those are the things you can't play around with. Jansen Dunn, like I said, was out last week. Darian Henry Young's been out all season. Mincy's been out now 2 weeks in a row. Josiah Hayes been out all season. Chip's basically been out all season. Steven Souls, I didn't even know he played last week. I didn't see anything that happened, so I have no clue what's going on there. He's obviously a freshman. I think they have high hopes for him, but
he's a dog.
Jordan Dingle, I don't know what happened there, but obviously, I'm actually excited to give Willie a little bit more of a run out. I think he's probably the future anyway that we have at tight end. De'Aaron Jackson. I think of everything, De'Aaron Jackson's the biggest loss.
Yeah.
Of who we want, probably JJ's.
De'Aaron and JJ, it's for the exact same reason.
Yeah, for the exact same reason. He's been banged up all season, so I'm not shocked that he's out of this game. Now, maybe you're right. If we're 7-1 going into this game, is he out? Maybe not. He's probably the one I would maybe point to and say maybe not. And then obviously
he's been such a leader for so long. It doesn't feel like he's the type of guy that would.
No,
it doesn't feel like it would be the kind of thing he would do. But obviously, I don't know him.
Look, here's the interesting thing about this game, right? And this is the catch-22 that I think Tennessee might not be thinking about. You've got Kentucky in their defense, has a lot of young, talented defensive players. Now, they're not a lot have played a lot. So here's the thing you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of guys playing their ass off, I think, in this game for Kentucky on the defensive side of the ball, specifically because they've not played, right? You're going to see that extra oomph, and you're going to see a little bit extra push for there. Now, whether that translates to playing well or just playing like you have your hair on fire, look, I think Alex Safari, playing more, moving into maybe that role that De'Aric's played. I think he's played amazing. I think his upside, I think he has NFL potential upside from that perspective. Could that be a benefit, especially in this? Like the other thing is too, is De'Aric was going to play, but was he going to play as much? Because are you going to put him out in coverage? You're going to go 5-on-5 in the box, and you're going to probably go with the front four and put Pop there, right? Like that's kind of that was the method to success that Arkansas has had when they beat Tennessee. It's that Oklahoma had that success, Alabama had that success. The big thing and the only thing is, can we score? Because our offense has been dog shit, and Tennessee has a really good defense, but their offense is kind of hot garbage with us. Like, if you were going to rank our offenses in NCAA, we're a 69 and they're a 72. But that 72 is just enough for them to get by.
I think I'd probably go a little higher on them. The running back, Sampson, is a monster.
They're really good at running the ball. They are not really good at running the ball. And we've been good at running the ball, but for whatever reason, our offensive coordinator has brain damage halfway through a game and doesn't hand the fucking ball off.
Yeah, I've never understood. I mean, if you're getting 3.4 yards a carry, if you do that
Run
3
the
times,
ball.
guess what? Yeah, that's a first down. Keep doing it.
Quit with the trick plays and run the dang ball.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, I understand we got dynamic receivers, and like Dane Key hasn't really dropped anything. You got Brown that can get a 70-yard catch here and there, but run the ball and then all of a sudden do a play action pass or something. Then you get 8 up in the box, and now it's on open up things. So just keep running the ball, get them to bring up their safeties. Once you see the safeties come up, then you try to do a play action and burn them. I mean, I just don't get it. It's not common sense. I mean, I'm sure you guys played football or watched football in high school. I mean, it's easy things we should be doing, and we're trying to be all fancy and stuff, and it's not working.
And he does it constantly. I think the only game that was called really well was Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss was
and that
great.
was it. To an extent, that was really called really well, I thought. But like you'll see, like, and then we'll gash someone, and then we don't hand the ball off for another 5 plays. We're like, what are we doing? Like, why are we forcing this? Like, what? Like, I don't know if they're seeing a read and they're not doing it. I don't know if he's audibling at the line. But like, if I'm Kentucky, the only chance you have in this game is running the ball, in my opinion. I mean, unless you just think you're going to hit 4 like big deep shots, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, who do you think starts at quarterback tomorrow for Kentucky?
Brock.
You think Brock starts?
Yeah.
I would be very upset if it wasn't Brock.
I have an inclination it's going to be Gavin. I think if it was going to be Brock, they would have said it was going to be Brock because there's no harm. I look, maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just trying to play mind games, which is stupid anyway. Like, why?
They do that all the time. I hope that's what it is.
I would not feel I don't feel uber confident.
Bo Allen comes in.
I mean, I wouldn't care. I mean, if Bo Allen trotted out and started the game, I'd probably be like, well, I mean, look, like, cool.
I know he could pass the ball. I saw it last year when he was at. Yeah. Let's
see what happens, right? Like, I think at least people get excited. You probably get a bunch of people tuning in if they heard that was about to happen, right?
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be Gavin because I think they think that they can run more shit with him right now. My problem is when he goes back to pass, does it not feel like he's just in like 1.5 speed? He looks like someone. He looks like he kind of has, like he's got like his feet are on fire because he drops back so damn fast, and I mean, it just seems like he's kind of schizophrenic in the pocket. Now, on the flip side, I think Brock's maybe a little slow. So
Brock's moving at like 75% speed in the pocket.
Can we marry them? I mean, look, here's the thing. If Gavin had one game and he just went off for one game, you could win this game because of his athleticism and with the way he can get out of the pocket and run. The problem is that his accuracy's not been very good in Division I.
Okay, the quarterback situation to me, they've essentially, if they go with Gavin, they are punting on the Brock. They're punting on everything that they had planned Brock. We've watched Gavin for 2 years play Power 4 conference football, and he's not been good at it. He just hasn't. And he's not been good at it at Kentucky. In the third quarter last game, 7 plays, 6 yards, 0% success rate on offense. That's really terrible. That's literally as bad as you could get. When we say it can't be worse than Brock, it can be. It's what Gavin did. That is worse. And punting on Brock, the 5-star prospect with 2 years of development that you brought him in to do and get that quarterback transfer bump would make no sense to me. And it would mean that you're going to the transfer portal for a quarterback again this year if you don't have faith in Brock. Because I don't see how you can go into the season with Gavin as your quarterback if Rutgers really didn't want to. It's just not a good process.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if Gavin starts, then you're basically telling Brock you're not the quarterback of the future. So now he's not going to be at Kentucky next year.
Is it that? But hold on. Is it that? So I will say this. All right. I will say this. I was told that Brock will either play football at Kentucky next year or he might not play football anymore. That's kind of the aspect. I mean, maybe that changes. That I look, everything you you got to take with like a grain of salt anyway, right?
That would be a bad sign to me if that's the case.
Yeah, it wouldn't be amazing. I don't know. I mean, look, here's the other flip side. If Brock is banged up in a way that we don't necessarily know about and they go to Gavin, they're just trying to play a little bit of mind games here. Okay, I get that it's gamesmanship. You're playing the number 7 team in the country. Soups comes out at the press conference. Hey, listen, we were kind of, look, Brock's not been fully healthy. We went with Gavin today because we wanted to make sure that Brock's okay. He's starting next week against Murray after the bye because we have a bye week, right? After this week, I think, don't we? Or is it Murray State next? No, we have a bye week, I think.
Yeah.
The bye week is the next week, yeah.
So, so we got 2 weeks off before the final 3 games of the year, which Kentucky needs Kentucky needs a bye week right now. Huge if they could – look, if they somehow win, which, again, I don't think it's impossible. I don't feel like this is us going to Tennessee when Hendon Hooker was playing and us thinking we're facing down a 50 spot, right? I think it's possible. If they were to win, I think the whole narrative for the last 3 games of the season would definitely change. But that's neither here nor there. I think if you go with Gavin because Brock's banged up, but also look, he's got a year of eligibility left too. I think you want to maybe give him a full run out. We knock all the quarterbacks and stuff, but some of it's got to be play calling. Some of it's got to be better execution. It's just got to be. Top to bottom, you almost have to hit reset on the offense next year. I think Brock could be a very good quarterback. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's got all the intangibles.
I think there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, let's think about this. So Brock was here before Bush was here, our offensive coordinator. After Bush gets here, he goes out and gets Gavin. So you can look at it 2 ways. It could be like, hey, Brock's not the guy I want. I want this Gavin guy. So he brings in Gavin. Well, Gavin maybe just doesn't have the offense down pat yet, and it takes a full year to implement whatever Bush trying to do.
Gavin's always been not – I mean, even at Rutgers, his 2 years there, he was not a very accurate passer.
Oh, I know that. I'm just saying maybe Bush brought him in.
He was the most accurate passer in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, Gavin does fit the mold, I think, of what Bush likes in a quarterback a little bit more, bigger, a little bit more athletic and run. I just can't stand that GD QB runs. Like, that shit just makes me want to punch myself in my own freaking nether regions.
I think that's the problem. It was when we were talking about going away from the run. I don't know if it's the frequency of running that's the problem. It's who is running.
That I agree with.
Why is
the
Gavin
ball
leading us in carries?
Here you go, Wilcox. Here you go, Demi. Here you go, Patterson. Let them run the ball. You've got 3 running backs. Of those 3, 2 of them have home run hitting speed. stop running with the fucking quarterback. If you're going to run with the quarterback, run an actual option. Why don't, with this team, I honestly don't understand why we don't run an actual like triple threat, not triple threat option, but like a run pass option. Why we don't always run the ball, hold it, and have like 2 pass plays that are out of it, or run the ball. I don't know why we don't do that. Like, I feel like our offense this year it would slow everything down a little bit for everyone trying to come off the edge. Why don't we do that?
That's a great question.
It's a great question. Just letting Mark Stoops know I'm available for offensive
next press conference. Say, hey, Bush, why don't we do this?
So whenever Gavin is in, they always run the jet sweep motion, and they run like the fake handoff, or like they jab one way and run a counter off of it. It is always set up to be a triple option, but it never seems like it's an option.
Motion doesn't fucking work. Nobody. You see anybody move anymore? All they do is cover him. They don't shift nothing. They don't give a shit about that person.
Yeah, I think they gave it to Anthony Brown-Stevens one time.
That was
in the Bandy game, maybe. But that's like you have to give that more. And I don't know if they ever give the ball to the running back out of that look. But it's set up to be a triple option. But your RPO thing, I have the stat. Clark Brooks at SEC StatCast. Kentucky is the number 1 most successful RPO offense in standard time. 57.78% success rate. Next highest is Florida at 52%.
And we
run RPOs the least in the entire conference. It just the strengths of the team.
That's about to be. That's going to be a tweet. That's going to be a tweet right now. I'm about to tweet that right now. All right.
Do you want me to send you the actual tweet so that you can kind of?
Yeah, send it. Like, send me the copy of that, and I'll forward it. That right there is dumbass coaching. That is the epitome of dumbass coaching.
Yeah.
Would you like to guess where we are on overall offensive success rate?
It's probably terrible.
13th out of 16 at 43.41%. This is fascinating because we have a top 10 offensive rushing success rate. So that means our passing rate is so bad that we could be top 10 in the country in rushing rate and bottom 4 in the SEC in offensive success rate.
Is this just
that's how bad we are passing the ball?
Is this the tweet you sent me? Is this just showing the RPO? It doesn't show.
Yeah, that's RPO success rates is the one that I sent you.
And we run it how often? Sorry.
It doesn't say how often. It just says who calls RPOs the least on the tweet.
You said top 10 in the nation in rushing if we were to do that?
Rushing success rate. No, we are top 10 in the nation in rushing success rate.
Wow.
And we're bottom 4 in the conference in overall offensive success rate.
Yeah, so we're not rushing.
Oh, I have the RPO broken down by run and pass. 7.38 yards a run, 0.6 yards a pass when we run RPOs. 0.6. I mean, the next lowest is Oklahoma, whose offense is awful at 4.1. And
we're top 10 in the nation
in rushing success rate. We're number 1 in the SEC in RPO success rate.
UK is top 10 in the nation rushing success rate, and what's our running percentage that we run with running?
I don't know. I can figure this out though.
See if you can find that. This like I'm tagging Bush Hamden in this too. When I do this, I'm going to be like, "Hey, Bush Hamden, I think I helped you with your offense." Like, what the shit? Like, how does a coach not see this and go, the fuck? Maybe we should do this more. Like, are you stupid?
Let's say Jaden found that in 10 minutes.
The thing that makes the least sense to me may even be that he has put together top 30 offenses at Washington and Boise. He was part of, for the last 4 weeks of the season at Missouri, when Brady Cook made his, rise to stardom, they were one of the most efficient offenses in the country when he took over play calling. And then here it isn't working. So it makes me wonder if he didn't get to pick any of his players. Things are legit because he's put up top 30 offenses everywhere he's been.
Like if you can't at least not understand that, like, what works, ride that horse. Like, look,
I know that's the confusing
2018, we didn't throw the ball phenomenally well, right? So what do? We saddled up Chris Rodriguez and Benny Snell and rode them like Seattle slew. And what do? We won 10 games, right? Sometimes, I don't know, do what you're good at. I get it. Like, oh, the fans want to see, like, fuck that. The fans want to see us not lose to fucking Vandy. The fans want to see us not lose to a dog shit Auburn team, right? I don't give a shit if we win. If we win 13-9, guess what? It says W in the win column. I don't care if you ran the ball 45 times during the game. I don't care if it was boring as shit. You won. That's what matters. We don't give a shit. Win the fucking game. Stop playing these gimmicky, stupid things. And then we get a holding penalty, and now it's 2nd and 25 or something, 2nd and 20, 2nd and 18. I don't understand this. This is the aspect of the offense right this year that is stupid as shit. And if you are averaging 12 points a game and you see these stats and you don't do them, you should be fired. Like if we don't move towards this the rest of the season, I'm going to be like, Bush Hamden needs to get fired. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's starting to make me wonder, like, is there influence behind it too? Because, I mean, you got Cohen that's at Tampa Bay Buccaneers now, and their offense is just outstanding.
Yeah, but are they, though? Because, I mean...
Paul's gone.
Paul's gone.
Tampa called in, Liam called in, and had to cut off for it to trash him.
Exactly. I mean, I just look at Baker Mayfield. I mean, even with Evans down right now and Godwin down, I mean, their offense is still putting 30 points a game up. And, I mean, he didn't come out and say it, but, I mean, they weren't doing that great at Kentucky.
Yeah. Before Paul sneaks in and tells me that the Ravens shut them down and it's all fake for the Bucs, all NFL front office guys and coaching staffs, like, they just love him. If you listen to the Manning cast, like the Mannings and Brady or Belichick were both just like gushing over him, how awesome he is, how he's going to be a head coach. He's probably going to get the Bucs job if I had to guess. Like, if people are thinking just because the coach is probably going to move on. They've not liked him for a long time now, and I think they're starting to get towards they'd rather just move to Liam. But I know Paul's going to come in and say that the Ravens proved that the Bucs defense is fake. I just want to sneak that in there before.
I hear you. Well, hopefully we get them back. Sorry, we got some technical difficulties going on.
That's what we do. That's what we're best at.
I mean, we're still learning how to navigate all this. He's dropped off now. So, what did you say?
I said hating Louisville and technical difficulties. Two things we're best at.
Oh, there he is.
There we go.
Back.
Just had to refresh the screen, guys. Anyway.
We're good. We were just I was really selling and so was Jaden.
I heard everything.
Oh, you did?
I heard every single thing that you were saying. Everything.
Do you agree or disagree?
So the Bucs offense.
I mean, I guess the Bucs are fourth, they're fourth in the NFL in yards per game and second in points per game. So I guess that's something, but I don't know why they lose. I guess is their defense shit. They're 4-4. So I mean,
yeah. I was just talking about him as offensive coordinator. I mean, maybe there's more to the Bush is saying, "Hey, I want this. These are the things I want you to do."
Though. But we weren't bad. We weren't this bad last year on offense. And if you remember, Devin Leary got all kinds of shit. He was number 2 in the SEC in touchdown passes. And he had, I think what do you have, like 13 interceptions? I'd say at least 7 of those. Huh?
He led the SEC in interceptions. I don't know what the number was.
Yeah, okay, but here's the aspect too. At least half of those were because of receivers. Right now, he missed some throws. I'm not going to not knock him. He wasn't perfect. But how many touchdowns? I think I did the math at one time. He should have had 32 touchdowns. We dropped 7 touchdowns. I remember last year we played Florida and Barryon drops the touchdown. He should have thrown 32 touchdowns, and I think he should have had like 8 interceptions or 9. That's dope. Like, that is a hell of a stat, right? Our offensive line didn't help. He was constantly on his ass. And he didn't play great, right? So there's multiple levels there. Like, he had stretches where he didn't play, but he had stretches too where he went off. I mean, that Tennessee game last year, he threw for like 400 yards. We're not sniffing 400 yards of offense this year, period.
Yeah.
So, like, last year's offense was not nearly as bad as people think. It was bad because we had bad wide receiver play. We had stretches with bad quarterback play and bad offensive line play, and all of it hit at different times. Remember, we went on the road and played Georgia. Georgia did score first, but we drove down the field on that first drive. That's one of the Devin Leary bad things. If Devin Leary hits Robinson on that 25-yard post, then he's wide open. He probably goes for another 10, 15 yards, and Kentucky scores on that first possession potentially. Touchdown or 3, game's completely different.
Yeah, always.
We had another drive. We had another drive too where that happened. You look at Tennessee last year, right? You had key drops in crucial situations. What was another? There was another game last year where we just had drops, and you're just like, what the hell? Because that's why, like when we played last year, we played Louisville, and then Dane Key catches everything, right? Like remember that touchdown pass? It was a PI, but there was that what he caught. I mean, we caught everything against Louisville, but we couldn't do that all season long. That's the aspect last year I don't think is bad. Now, this year, I think the wide receivers are a lot better. They're catching the ball. We're just not getting it. Like, Dane Key's a monster, and I get it. But I think either Jamori Macklin was not as good as people thought, which I don't necessarily buy because you don't get over 1,000 yards receiving in Division I football if you're not good. I don't care what level you're at. We don't get that man the ball enough. I don't know what we have to do. I don't know if Bush Hamden just needs to see a picture of his ass like next to him or something, or get Brock like a hologram, like that little thing for like the deaf kids. They can see the screen so they can see his picture every time in the huddle. Like, do that. Do something. Yeah. Because like we should be getting him the ball. Jaden, did you get the stat yet of how many times we actually rushed the ball like a game?
It's not perfect, because it's just like rushing attempts and passing attempts, but it's 59% rushes just based off attempts. Now, obviously, some of that is scrambles on passing attempts, so it's a little bit closer to 50.
The rush rate is with running backs, right? Though not like QB.
This is overall, just rushing attempts versus passing attempts is 59% rushes.
The issue with that is it's combining the quarterback runs that we don't want to see.
Scrambles, yeah. I can take quarterbacks out.
Yeah, take quarterbacks out and see what that is.
Okay.
I tell you, another thing that irritates me. I mean, I watched football last night, and you see a guy on the corner is 15 yards back, and you got somebody like Brown that's faster than lightning. You should just signal something. I don't know what the signal is, but 5 and in. And you hit him with a quick.
He's getting
like,
7.
What the hell?
At least he's getting 7. And
I don't get it.
Breaks the tackle. Bye.
Yeah.
What'd you say? All right, Jaden, you got the number?
170. I mean, I have the total. It drops it by 110 rushing attempts.
Yikes!
Wow! Holy cow!
Plus the 203, 179 divided by 382. About 47%. If you take quarterback running back runs is about 47% of our plays.
I know we're focused on football, but anybody see that lovely Caleb Wilson just miraculously rescheduling his visit now?
Yeah, they said he was rescheduling it because of
a game tonight.
Scrimmage. Wouldn't you want him at the scrimmage? Like, wouldn't you want him at the scrimmage? Isn't that
it's on the road. So, well, I think they're playing like that. Yeah, but that game was scheduled before this visit was scheduled.
They knew he was on.
So they knew they already knew this game was happening. So then I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, you also that 47% is running backs and receivers. So like jet sweeps and getting them in the backfield. But yeah, Joe, you dropped an update after you were on with me the other day on some of the recruiting stuff. If you want to kind of cover what you went over on.
Well, I just think I think it's just interesting. Obviously everybody said that, or not everybody. A couple of people are saying Wilson's leaning Arkansas, and then we get a visit reschedule when the schedule was already locked in when it comes to these scrimmages and exhibitions and all that. So. Why couldn't he still visit tomorrow and Sunday? I mean, obviously, if a visit was happening the entire weekend, why would you reschedule it if he can't come tonight? So, I think it's a money grab, in my opinion. I haven't been told that. That's what I feel. It wouldn't shock me, and if next week that visit just gets canceled altogether, and then
for
the week
us
after
or for
that,
Arkansas,
huh?
For us or Arkansas? Sorry,
Arkansas gets dropped out, and then it's all Kentucky. I think it's Kentucky, and then tomorrow's the Lewis's day to shine, and so hopefully
2 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so hopefully he's a Wildcat.
Saturday.
What time's the pregame show?
Pregame show's at
4.
So hopefully we can celebrate.
Are we an hour and a half tomorrow again?
Yep.
Sounds good. I like that we're producing on the air. This is kind of how we do things.
Yeah.
This is basically just a big group FaceTime call for us where we figure out our week plans. We just sit here and talk.
Is it
50
text
people listen to it?
Yeah, hopefully that text machine's been working and people can start interacting with us. We love to hear from fans. That's what we want to hear from. So,
What's that number again?
It's 859-412-2090. There's 57 people listening right now, so anybody can send in texts, their comments, or thoughts on the game, basketball, anything. 859-412-2090.
I think another important aspect of the football game is Tennessee has been really bad at scoring in the first half. I'm pretty sure their last 3 SEC games, they've been shut out the first half in all 3. I know at least 2 of the 3.
At 110 attempts with the quarterback's got to be like one of the highest in the nation.
It's a lot. Now that includes in college, that includes sacks. So that's a little bit.
Okay, I gotcha.
There's a little bit. I wish I had the resource, but I unfortunately don't pay for the websites that tell you this.
Is Tennessee game sold out tomorrow? I know it's a blackout.
I don't know. Did y'all see the South Carolina reveal?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That was also really cool.
Man, I hate these timer lights. I hate timer lights. Oh my goodness, lights went out again on me.
But yeah, I think that it's important to the defense needs to be locked in early because they've shown a tendency to struggle with the beginning of games and some of the beginning, some of the defensive schemes that people are putting out there early on them. Now they seem to figure it out a little bit and score enough to win the games at the end, even though their offense isn't great. But it's kind of because they kind of play a terrible half and then like a good half, and then it ends up being like average to below average overall. But yeah, and I know
hopefully we start the game tomorrow and they listen to our show today and they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to scrap the game plan. We're going to listen to Bleed Blue Network. We're going to run the ball every time.
RPO. Run the RPO. Hand the ball off to the running back.
21-0 at halftime. We're up. The crowd's all sad. We come out second half, keep running the ball, control the clock, kill the clock,
Man,
and we got to get ourselves a win.
Nothing would make my heart happier than to go into Knoxville and win that game tomorrow in a blackout in a year where they think they could win a national championship and just punch them right in the mouth. Look, I will say this. Kentucky's due to do that to them. Does it happen tomorrow? I mean, I wouldn't say it's likely. I'm not going to predict them to win. Crazier things have happened, but we're due. That's all I'm going to say. We're due. I think the defense is good enough. I just don't have any faith in our offensive coordinator calling plays anymore.
We'll see.
See, I think that's a little bit different from us. Is I don't personally believe that Bush is the problem, but I don't think we haven't gotten into. We've talked about kind of the method of beating Tennessee. We haven't really talked about what makes that such a tall task. The defensive line is what makes that such a tall task.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I feel like every week we come in and we say, well, we're playing one of the best defensive lines in the country. We play South Carolina, we played Georgia, we played Auburn, we play there's another one in there. I can't even remember. There's one more. But it's like, oh yeah, now you also get the preseason projected number 1 pick in the country at defensive end. A guy who has double-digit tackle for loss on the other side and 2 defensive tackles that will probably play in the NFL. Like it's you're throwing a redshirt freshman Malachi Wood out there against potentially the number 1 defensive player drafted. He's not had as good of a season as he thought he would. James Pierce is who I'm talking about. But they're throwing him out like he's still an elite player, twitchy pass rusher, kind of like Grant Stewart a little bit from South Carolina, the freak show freshman. Pierce is kind of like what you hope Stewart develops into. Well, maybe a little better, but Pierce is the same mold. But yeah, so Malachi Wood is going to have his hands full. Marcus Cox has really struggled in pass pro, and he's going to have his hands full. That is the concern, is that they're just going to overload the team and flood them with pass rush, kind of like how South Carolina did, and cause turnovers and run away with it quick, even though they haven't been an explosive team coming out of the beginning of the games.
Yeah, and that's fine. But if we already know they have this defensive end, all you have to do is, change your offense to have a tight end right there behind the right tackle. If he's coming from the Willie Rodriguez can, I'm confident he can. And if Dingle's out tomorrow, then he's going to have to play, and maybe he'll show something.
Really mean. Willie, man, I don't want to be listen, you want to be a cornerback out in the flat with that son of a bitch?
He may be the best one.
Do what?
He is.
He may have been the best one all along.
Oh, Willie?
Willie, yeah.
Oh,
of the
Willie's,
tight ends.
dude, that hit against Ole Miss was enough for you to say. But also, like, we saw this at a scrimmage. He almost started a fight because he absolutely tore two cornerbacks. Like, when I say that you felt the hit, and he went through two of them, and you were like, God, and then talk shit, and that was where everybody got all mad. But, like, you know, like, half the coaches are yelling at him to stop, half the coaches are clapping, the other half are laughing, right? Like, I mean, like, what are you going to do? The kid's a freshman. He just absolutely train wrecked two cornerbacks. And, I mean, I'd talk shit, too, if I did that. I mean, he's just mean. Like, we need a lot of guys on the team like that. You know, also notice, like, people been knocking, and this is something I'll say, too, people been knocking Deion Walker. He's probably the highest rated guy that we've got on the team from a draft perspective this year. He's probably going top 10 or 15 in the draft. And this guy's still playing, and he's not healthy. He's dinged up. He's banged up, and he's still playing. And, you know, people are like, oh, you know, I don't forget, Sal, somebody said he pats his helmet so much. God, listen, the guy's
humongous.
Banged up. He's hurt.
Well, not only that, I mean, with so many 3 and outs, he's having to play a lot more on defense than he should have to. When he gets to the NFL, he's on play first and second down, then he's on sub out on passing downs. I mean, the minutes he's having to put up, he's getting double teamed almost every time. When he gets to the NFL, he's probably not going to get double teamed anymore. I mean, it's just outstanding what he's been able to fight through. And like you said, he's got multiple injuries and he's trying to put the team on his back and the defense and continue to play. And people keep giving him crap. I just don't understand it.
One thing that'll help defensive tackle depth is it looks like Tavian Gadsden is back, who was a projected like potential starter, if not starter, like very quality backup to some of those defensive linemen. So he's supposed to be back this week. I don't know if they expected him to totally come back this season, but he's back. He's a massive dude. I know they beat Florida State for him in his recruitment. I think he's from Georgia, maybe, but he's a really big player. Because, like I said earlier on the show this week, they were playing offensive linemen and defensive tackle last week against Auburn. They literally ran out of bodies. They had no more players that could play.
Tavian Gadsden will be good. Will definitely help.
He is very good. And I was on injuries in general, starting with Dion. I mean, I think you're seeing 7, maybe 8 preseason starters on the depth chart out. Another one injured or 2 more injured but playing. Like, they are the most injured team in the SEC. Like Tennessee's only has 3 players out, 2 players questionable. All of the other injury reports are significantly shorter than ours is, and ours is a bunch of starters who are all out. So it's you've run into a really tough position, especially when you have injuries at tackle and defensive line, where you maybe didn't really have the depth to afford an injury, even though the defensive line is good. There's so many positions. I mean, you saw they went after every defensive tackle in the portal. Like, they wanted a defensive tackle. They knew they didn't have enough, and they got one, but he came in like 2 months ago, and he's like a JUCO transfer, Denius Jackson. But I don't know. They've run out of bodies on the defensive line. They're running out of bodies in the front 7 in general, and it's not a good week to not have front 7 bodies when you're playing against a rushing offense like Tennessee and Dylan Sampson.
Now we're going to put up 50 anyway. It won't matter.
That would be good. I would love it.
That's why. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the higher chance of happening is? Kentucky football putting up 40 tomorrow against Tennessee, or Kentucky basketball dropping 123 against Duke?
Uh, 40 against Tennessee because it goes in multiple overtimes, and so we get to keep racking up points because of the overtime points.
I would say 20. I'm pretty sure 123. Did the Wesleyan game, did that tie the highest points caliber scored in the game? Was it 123 against Marshall last year, the highest? I think 123 or 119 or something. It was either tied or it just beat Cal's high record for most points scored in a game. So I there's like a less than 1% chance that happens. I'll go with Tennessee scoring 40 on Tennessee, because if you can protect against the defensive line, the secondary is like not super great. It's not great, and it's not super productive when you make them actually try to guard a route instead of just them getting to crash on your linemen or getting to crash on your receivers because the defensive line's there in 2 seconds and they just have to throw it up. If you can make them actually cover routes, the secondary is vulnerable. That's your way of winning, is if you can get a little bit moving in the run game and try to get some type of success, then you can hit some of these RPO passes and some of these short passes and try to get people in space, because the secondary is not nearly as good as the defensive line is.
You remember what happened last time we played Tennessee in Neyland, and their secondary wasn't good either, and we just didn't throw the ball.
Yes, they decided to not throw the ball at all. They then, instead of trying to run a couple times and then pass, they just ran every time for the entire game, and that's why that guy got fired. I mean,
and that offense wasn't as bad as this one.
No, it wasn't. With like half the team being the same guys 2 years ago.
And look, Monday we're going to have a lot. We're going to recap this game, obviously, but we're also going to talk a lot of basketball, because Monday we've got the start of the season. So this is kind of like the last. I don't want to say last hurrah talking football, but it's the last. It's the last kind of.
Maybe the last time where football is the only focus.
Football focus, yeah. It's hard to talk about exhibition games. Now it does suck, because I think we only have one game next week, or do we have more games next week?
Is it just the Monday? That would really not be fun if it's just the Monday game.
Yeah, we have Monday and then Friday or Saturday. So Monday and Saturday. And then so it goes Monday, Saturday, Tuesday. So that'll be 3 games in 8 days.
8 days. Yeah.
3 games in 8 days. And then obviously the big one with Duke will be a week from Tuesday. So that'll be fun. We might have to do like a little live pregame show or something for that. That'll be interesting. I don't know what else you guys got.
I mean, you want to hint at the website?
I mean, it's not really a hint. I just need to know when we can take it and launch it and start putting articles out.
About 10 minutes.
All right, cool. There you go. So we'll have a website up with articles where we'll start putting out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You want me to send you the preseason basketball predictions?
Yeah.
Send you the article? All right.
Yeah.
So, something exciting, because it gives the fans more opportunities to engage with us. It's going to be a one-stop shop when you can look at articles, podcasts, you can look at Twitter feeds, and the ability to comment on things. And I think it's just a good opportunity for the fans to interact with us more. We're continuing to try to build this thing, and we want to hear your feedback on what you guys want to see or hear from us. We're trying to be different, and so we're hopeful, like providing different opportunities to reach out to you guys. We're podcast, doing this show, whatever. We want to make sure it's working, so we need to hear back. Use the email us feedback, and we'll try to adjust, make sure we're doing everything for you.
All right, fellas. Go ahead, Jaden.
That's where you'll kind of get a lot of, a variety of sports and cover different things. I just want to mention, I think the women also start Monday versus USC Upstate.
Yes.
Played Monday and Thursday at Memorial Coliseum.
Their game's at 4, yeah.
5 against USC Upstate on Monday. Okay. Yes. But the women's team is, I don't know how many people watch like the open practice for media day or whatever, saw clips of it. They are tall. They are humongous. When you're used to seeing like the Matthew Mitchell, Kyra LG, like small guards run around pressure speed teams, and then you see those girls, like they are huge. And I am quite excited to watch the women's basketball team. I think they're going to be good.
I think that'll start to have a lot more excitement once they start playing, right? Obviously they've not played anybody. They didn't have an exhibition season like the men did. So I think once that happens, it's going to be fun to watch. Look, it'd be really nice if you could have 2 teams in basketball make some noise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And competing with the men on the first game is obviously not ideal, but that Thursday, November 7th, 6 p.m., Northern Kentucky, kind of welcome the team to, historic Memorial Coliseum. I think that could be a good way to.
Do they play at home on Monday or no?
It's at home on Monday. Well, yes, it's at home on Monday.
Well, the men don't play till 7 or 8?
That's true. You could do both. You could hit the doubleheader.
Yeah, you could hit both and everything. So, but I'm sure we'll have somebody go to that game. We need to actually get on that and see who wants to go cover that. So, all right, guys, I think that's it's a good place to kind of wrap up. We went for an hour. We'll see everybody on the pregame show tomorrow talking football. We'll talk a lot of stuff. Might have a commitment tomorrow. What time's that? At again?
2:00.
2:00. So we'll know something that's going on there, and so I'm sure we'll talk some basketball as well, and hopefully we see a miracle, right? Like, do you believe in miracles? We'll see what happens tomorrow.
What's your prediction?
We're not doing that. I won't do that till tomorrow. I'll do that on the pregame show. I'll do that on
I won't give a score, but I'll say Tennessee a lot, Kentucky up less than a lot.
All right, everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. If you didn't catch the whole show, you can go on here in about 10 minutes. You'll see it. It'll be posted on Apple Podcasts and all those places. So appreciate everyone for listening. Go Cats. We'll see you on the pregame show tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.